The CIA concurs with Lenin that without revolutionary theory, there can be no revolutionary movement. To deny revolutionary movements access to revolutionary theory, the CIA has financed various anti-communist intellectual endeavours throughout the political spectrum since the start of the Cold War. The twin genocide theory, which reframes the Holocaust as a reaction to the Holodomor famine-genocide carried out by Jew-communism, was developed by fascist expats in Harvard's Ukrainian Studies program and other right-wing organizations supported by the CIA. The CIA aggressively supported several anti-communist ideologies on the left, working to widen ideological rifts within the communist movement and tipping the scale in favor of any radicalism other than Marxism-Leninism, which was the only ideology they dreaded. The Cultural Cold War aimed to develop a compatible left that downplayed anti-imperialism and supported inefficient organizational tactics. Academics with nuanced views on imperialism were given carrots, while George Jackson and the BPP received the punishment. The CIA aggressively engaged in radical intellectual circles, pushing various varieties of reformism and radical liberalism, parallel to its concurrent infiltration and cooptation of the European labor movement. As long as they were anti-communist, these opinions were tolerated. It is no coincidence that Michel Foucault, a child abuser who showed no interest in Algerian independence and whose theory ignores class and imperialism and lends itself readily to criticism of socialist nations, mainly succeeded Marx in the academic world. The careers of Noam Chomsky and Michael Parenti are possibly the clearest examples of the intellectual ghetto on the left. Chomsky and Parenti are both opponents of capitalism, the media, and U.S. imperialism, but whereas Parenti lost his job, Chomsky frequently makes appearances on national television. Parenti's Inventing Reality and Chomsky's Manufacturing Consent, released 2 years later, have startling parallels. Their aversion to the current liberation movements differentiated them and set them on different career paths. Michael Parenti supports historical and modern liberation movements, including the Sandinistas and the USSR. On the other hand, Chomsky, the quintessential compatible leftist, has chosen to either remain mute or condemn U.S. imperialism's aims from the left. The CIA developed a narrative for the liberal mainstream that positioned communism and fascism as two types of totalitarianism, with liberal democracy serving as the middle ground between the two extremes. The definition of totalitarianism tacitly excuses, or, in Arendt's case, overtly justifies, the colonial genocide committed by liberal democracies against non-Europeans. This blatantly ideological distortion of history is taught in United States schools as fact. The cornerstone of the intellectual quarantine is anti-Stalinism. This account refers to the intellectual orthodoxy during the Cold War that socialism equals Stalin equals bad, which cannot be refuted. After 1956, when Khrushchev gave, and purposefully let slip, his infamous secret speech criticizing Stalin and the cult of personality, anti-Stalin orthodoxy came into focus. In a tirade full of verifiable lies, the new premier tried to scapegoat Stalin for every excess in the USSR's turbulent and bloody history to solidify his power and appease the USA. Khrushchev's historically significant error weakened the communist left, sparked the Sino-Soviet split, and solidified the anti-Stalin paradigm. The subject matter of Losurdo's outstanding work is the speech, its repercussions, and the reality it was meant to criticize. Trotskyists and other elements of the compatible left attempt to dissociate socialism from Stalin to refute the adage socialism equals Stalin equals bad, since people will always, and correctly, identify Stalin with the USSR and true socialism. The CIA favors this. The CIA is unconcerned by amorphous ideological stances. The enemies of socialism don't care how you feel about Marx or Makhno or Deleuze or communism in the abstract, they care about your feelings towards FARC, the Naxals, Cuba, North Korea. As Nia Froome put it, revolutionaries must make difficult decisions and wage acrimonious battles to avoid destruction at the hands of formidable internal and external foes. The siege socialism they create under challenging conditions falls short of the pure socialism of the theory. Pure socialists prefer their theory to reality because it is more flawless. On the other hand, CIA-encouraged members of the compatible left disregard historical precedent, give in to chauvinism and withdraw from the critical conflicts being fought outside of the West. Socialists must steadfastly reject the snare set by those opposed to human liberty. It needs a critical engagement with history to fight effectively. By giving in to the enemy's hateful parodies of socialism's greatest historical figures and movements, it cannot prevail. The term intellectual quarantine does a great job of describing how anti-communism operates.